back to yet another episode of the Watch Monkey, where today I'm going to be discussing if Heimdallr is truly a Seiko killer. So let's get into this. Here we are with the two watches that we're going to be discussing today. The Heimdallr. This one is the homage to the seikoTurtle, and this one here is the homage to the Orange Monster by Seiko, of course. So we're also going to determine, are these actually Seiko killers? You've probably heard a lot about these watches online and different reviews and so on, so I'm not going to bore you too much with the specs on these watches, but what I will do is just do a quick little bit of information about them and some of the differences between the Seiko and the Heimdallr. So anyway, let's talk about this one first very quickly. We'll make this quick. So this one here, some of the advantages or things that are better about it over the Seiko is that, first of all, this crystal here is made of sapphire. And on the Seikos, they're made of hardlex material, which is not nearly as scratch resistant as the Sapphire Crystal. Another advantage with the Heimdallr is that the bezel insert here is actually made of ceramic, whereas on the Seiko, it's made of basically an aluminum, I believe, and scratches and gets damaged quite easily. One of the nicer things of the Seiko is probably the case back. This case back isn't terrible, and mind you, you don't really look at the case back, especially when it's on your wrist. But, you know, it's really kind of, not bad. But the Seiko one is actually quite nice. I actually did own the seikoTurtle Patty Edition, which was a pretty decent watch. So that's why these kind of tweaked my interest, especially at the price point. The Seikos now, the equivalents anyways, are going to be closer to $400 or $500, whereas you can pick these up for anywhere from $150 to $200 and a quarter, somewhere in there. The dimensions between this and the seikoTurtle are almost identical. The loom quality is very similar as well. This is using a C3 Super Luminova, which glows very nicely. And again, towards the end for you loom freaks, I will do a loom shot of both of this and of the Orange Monster. So anyway, enough about this because I've already covered this particular watch already. Let's talk about getting the Seiko Monster on wrist. And I'll just pop it on very quickly so you can have an idea what it looks like. Okay, so there you go, the Seiko Monster. Actually, the Heimdallr, sorry, see, I'm even getting them confused. The Heimdallr on wrist. You can see it fits actually very nicely considering that it's a fairly large, heavy watch. It's about 42 millimeters in diameter. The lug to lug, that's that distance there, is about 46, 47 millimeters. And the thickness is about 13.5 millimeters. So it's a fairly thick watch, not overly thick, but it's thick. It wears very nicely on the wrist. It is a fairly heavy watch, especially being on this bracelet. Which brings to me to mind another thing, that the bracelet on this is actually pretty decent quality. It's not a garbage bracelet like on some watches. This thing is actually pretty decent. You got your micro adjustments here. There's no dive extension on this one. It's just your typical fold-over clasp. But at least on this, it's milled. It's not a stamped type clasp system. So to put it on, you just kind of snap it down like this, and then you fold this over, and the watch is now securely on your wrist. Now, this also has the Sapphire Crystal as opposed to the Hardlex, which the Seiko has. Again, this is using the C3 Super Luminova, which is a great loom. It's 120 click unidirectional bezel, same as the Seiko. This one is also the same as well, same clicks. This one is using the NH36, which is the same as the 4R36. They're both made by Seiko. So basically, it's the same movement. On this one here, it's using the NH35, which is the same as the 4R35. The difference between the 35 and the 36 is that the 35 has no day, it just has date, and the 36, as you can see here, has day and date. So it's kind of nice to have the day and date, but some people don't like that because it makes the ruins the geometry and the overall appearance or aesthetics of the watch, and not as appealing to some. The loom on this watch is very decent. The quality of the print that's on the dial is extremely good. I've got no issues with this watch. The bezel lineup and the pip and so on are pretty much bang on. They're very good. Where Seiko seems to have a little bit of an issue with that. It's kind of hit and miss with Seiko. Sometimes they get it right and sometimes they don't. Let me flip the watch over so you can see the back. And you can see it's very similar to the other Heimdallr that I just showed you, the Turtle Homage. Quite simple. It's not a bad case back at all. Just nothing spectacular. And I'd say that's probably the only area that I would say that the Seiko is probably a little bit nicer is on their case backs. But other than that, the Heimdallr is pretty much better than the Seiko in every way that's measurable. Now, the only drawback that I can see with the Heimdallr over the Seiko is that you don't have the history of Seiko. Now, Seiko is a well-respected brand. Granted, it's not really considered to be a luxury brand unless you go up into their higher models. But just the standard Seiko and the Seiko 5s and so on, yeah, it's not a luxury brand, but it's definitely been around for a very long time, and they make their own in-house movements. These are the movements in these watches are also from Seiko, and it's basically they're using the same movements in their turtles as they are in the Heimdallrs, except the branding name or part number, whatever you want to call it, is different, but it's pretty much the same. Now, I've had this watch here for over a month, and I can tell you it has no issues. It keeps great time. This one I just received very recently, and I've worn it for the last, I would say, 2 days. No issues again. Great. The build quality is superb. It feels very solid on the wrist. It doesn't feel cheap at all. I've had other less expensive watches you can actually feel that the quality just wasn't there. But that's not the case on these. I can pretty much guarantee you that when you see these watches up in person, you're going to be thoroughly impressed with them. They're just phenomenal. As I had mentioned, this one here you can find for about anywhere from $125 to about $175. This one here is going to run you a little bit more. This one is very popular right now. This one is going to run you probably in around $200, maybe slightly less or slightly more. By the way, the dollar figures that I'm giving you is in Canadian dollars. So for you Americans that are watching this, it's going to be a little bit cheaper with your money. But yeah, just let me hold these watches up a little bit closer to you. And I'm just going to let you just kind of see if I can get this focused and you can see a little bit better what's going on. So that's a nice close-up. You can see that the casing is done very, very nice. There's no real flaws or anything like that in here. You can see it's got the drilled lugs, so it's pretty easy to do strap changes on it. And that the bracelet has solid end links, so again that helps give the watch a very solid feel. Turn that around here, and you can see again it's very well finished. Again, this watch is not made cheap at all. I'll quickly go back to the Turtle Homage, and again I'll just quickly show that to you again. And they've got another version of this. It's very similar to this. The main difference is the handset and the indices are slightly different, and it's a homage to the Captain Willard watch, or better known as the Willard. That's very popular right now. Again, you can probably get that for about somewhere between $150 to $200, and The Seiko version of the Willard is going to run you about $1,300 US. So there's a big price discrepancy there. But granted, the movement in that one of Seiko's is a little bit better than what's in this. This is just the NH35 that's in this. But you can see these watches are truly beautiful. For the price that they're asking for these watches, don't hesitate to get them. Now we're going to go back to the original question. Do I consider these to be Seiko killers? Well, I can tell you the answer is absolutely. Where can you get a watch that's paying homage, that's 1/3 the price, that's better quality, with the same movements basically? It's unheard of. So don't hesitate on getting these watches if you're thinking about it. I have no affiliation with Heimdallr. I know watches, and I know a great deal when I see one. And trust me, guys, you will not be disappointed in either of these watches. They're absolutely fantastic. Now, before I let you go, for you loom freaks out there, I'm going to go ahead and do a loom shot for you. So I'm just going to quickly charge these up once again with my magic loom maker. There you go. So I'm just going to zap that, charge it up a little bit. I'm going to turn this first light off, and then I'll be turning the second light off. And you can already see it's already starting to want to glow. All right, so they're charged up. So the first set of lights are off. And you can see that they're already glowing. And I'm going to turn the other light off, and you can see how they really glow. And there you go. So you can see the C3 Super Luminova glows very well. Of course, this one is the Orange Monster, and this one is the Turtle Homage. And yeah, there's really no disappointments there. All right, so let's turn the lights back on, and then I'm going to flip the camera around and say my goodbyes. Okay, so here we are. Yeah, so like I was saying, these are definitely Seiko killers. The Heimdallr, I cannot say enough good things about these watches. Absolutely amazing for the price point. You can't beat them. I'm telling you right now, guys, these watches are truly unbeatable. Boy, I'm getting a lot of glare from the camera. So anyway, that's it for this episode of the Watch Monkey. I hope you guys enjoyed yourselves and got a little bit more informed this time about Heimdallr. And if you're on the fence about getting one of these watches, don't hesitate. They're fantastic. Trust me on this, guys. You will not be disappointed. All right. So again, please, if you haven't already done so, hit the like button, subscribe, and don't forget to hit that bell icon so you don't miss an episode of the Watch Monkey. Thanks, guys, and take care.